welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. If you want to support my daily Eternal Magic offerings while getting amazing perks like the BoshNRoll Discord community, have me play your deck on the channel, or listen sideboard guides before tournaments, check out the Patreon or YouTube membership program. This channel is possible because of these amazing sponsors. Check them out, all their links are in the video description. As always, thanks for being here. Let's go play some Magic.
Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm playing Legacy at the request of Patreon subscriber Rob, and this is Nadu Zenith Combo. Nadu, of course, now banned in Modern. It was too good there. Still appropriate in Legacy. And Nadu has shown up in shells from just kind of a value thing in fair Stoneblade decks to all-in dedicated combo Thassa's Oracle style decks. It is an alternate plan in Cephalid Breakfast, which was playing all the target effects anyway. And about a month ago, this build right here was the combo build. This was the fastest build. And recently, it has kind of evolved into a Living Wish deck that has 7 Nadus and 7 Nomads, thanks to Living Wish. And then it evolved past that into a Court of Calling deck that looks a lot like old pre-natural order combo elves back when you used Court of Calling to find mirror entity to go off. Like, that's what Nadu looks like right now. Those lists are kicking around. And that's not to say any of those decks are correct or incorrect. They're just different versions that exist. And Rob is hanging out in the kind of faster side of the mid-range. There is no button you smash and go infinite in this build of the deck. There is a button you smash to draw a bunch of cards and overwhelm your opponent with your interaction and card advantage. But there's no Spring Heart and Tuco to flip your deck. There's no Otawara and the One Ring to just bounce your opponent's entire board. Like, we're not doing that. This is in the mid-range. It's still going slow enough and fair enough that Zenith has some bullets in it, like Keen-Eyed Curator, which is kind of a new Scavenging Ooze variant that becomes a 7/7 trample after it eats enough things. There's an Uro if we're on the super slow and need to find another way to grind. Bristly Bill is good with Nadu, but also could just put some stats on your creatures and cause a beatdown situation. But primarily what we're trying to do is put Nadu into play with Nomads En-CAW and then spam activations until we have unbeatable advantage. And that's what I'm going to try to do today. Let's get into this. This is Rob's Zenith Nadu. I'm on the play in round 1 with a hand that has big ol' endurance and a whole lot of nothing. I'm going to mulligan this. Even if they were a graveyard combo deck and I knew it, that hand would be bad. I'm going to keep this one. It doesn't ram a Nadu into play, unfortunately, but it does cast spells and interact and stuff. I think I'm going to bottom Keen-Eyed Curator, just as the kind of most specifically useful or generically useless card in the hand. I believe there is one Surveil land in the deck. Yeah, Meticulous Archive. I can get that if opponent passes without doing anything. Blue to Delta. Blue to Delta and Underground Sea stock at all-time highs right now. Not that those things really needed help being valuable, but Psychic Frog action. There's Nadu. We'll take that. I've got Brainstorm. I've got Plow. I don't think I want to just shove an unprotected Nadu into something like Daze. There are 2 Cavern of Souls in the list, though. Or I could just take my time, build out, find Delighted Halfling. And step Cycling Troll of Khazad-dûm. This deck probably has Reanimate in it. You don't really need Troll of Khazad-dûm to fix your mana if you're not trying to put it into play. Oh, here's Entomb. Yeah, I kind of wish I had access to that raccoon idiot. Archon of Cruelty is in the graveyard. An opponent seems to correctly have the read that I have nothing here. Or they have backup and they're not worried about if I have anything, which is even more terrifying. Okay, this Archon is going to come into play, which means I'm going to have to discard a card after I'm done brainstorming. Got a plan for that. I'm going to put back Bristly Bill and one of the Nadus. This will resolve. They could take my Tropical Island, but they can never take my Freedom. And now it will be a matter of, can I get this Swords to Plowshares to resolve? I'm going to get Trop and draw for turn. Brainstorm. Interesting. What can I do to make this Plow resolve? Teferi is in my deck, but they'd counter that. Getting a second Plow and brainstorming my way up into a blue card. I'm going to start by casting Plow and just see if it resolves, which is the best possible outcome. I should have played my land first to play around Daze. Yeah, force pitching Brainstorm. Brainstorm in response. Yeah, this land should be in play. This was just bad. Backup Plow, okay. I'm going to put Delighted Halfling and Uro back. Because I have to shuffle, though I would love to discard this Uro. Okay, the Plow happens. I didn't get punished by Daze, but I can't take time off to play around Daze anymore. I send the second Plow. Yep, couldn't play around this one. That wasn't a sequencing issue. That was just they had Daze in their hand issue. And now, I don't know how I can win this game. That was a miracle, finding the second Plow. There's only 3 in the main deck. I just had 2 of them. I actually ran insanely good here. I think Teferi is more likely to be helpful than Nadu in this situation. I'm going to 5 life. They have 6 cards in hand. Okay, I drew Cavern. I'm going to play Cavern on... How do the creature types line up here? I think they mostly don't. Halfling Citizen, Human Wizard, Plant Druid, Raccoon Scout, Elemental Incarnation. This is almost like a joke how little these overlap. Technically, Wizard gets me too, because I get Sylvan Safekeeper, but Raccoon Scout into Elemental Incarnation after Plant Druid. These card types have not been seen in any deck ever. Okay, Wizard, White, Blue. Teferi's a wizard. You can't counter it. I need a Flavor Judge. And they have another Force of Will. Yeah, I see now why they weren't worried about sending it last turn. Okay, smushed by Combo Reanimator. Collective Frog Reanimator. What does this card do? I know Rob was excited to put this in decks. Destroy an artifact, an enchantment, and target creature gets hexproof and indestructible, and you can escalate this. This does not have Graveyard Hate written on it, unfortunately. I like Prismatic Ending. I like Endurance. I like Carpet of Flowers. I might like Leovold. I don't think Sylvan Safekeeper is that important here. Uro's an interesting one, because if they end up kind of doing fair stuff, Uro could be great. But if Archon's in play, then Uro's discarded anyway. But then in the maybe zone, it's something that they can't steal off of a Reanimate, because it would just gain them 3 life, draw a card, and then go back to my graveyard immediately. I love Halfling. Curator. Sad I mulliganed it. I don't think it would have helped that game, but still sad to lose it. I think Bristly Bill. The Force of Wills. Maybe I should cut some number of those, because if they pivot, I don't want Force of Will at all. And even if they don't pivot, Endurance is like Force of Will for all the places I would mostly care about Force of Will. Like this sideboard now, is Leovold a better fair juke thing than Uro is? Is Teferi a better card to have for protection than Force of Will is? I think that is true. I'm pretty confident in that, actually. I'd rather be using Halflings and Teferis to resolve Nadu than fight over my combo with Force of Will. Wait, what am I even doing here? This is not the correct pile. This is the pile. I'm like looking at cards from my main deck. I'm like, yeah, this looks good. Those are not even the cards that I was supposed to have in my deck. All right, you can stop screaming at your monitors. I figured it out. Yeah, I looked in the sideboard. I was like, didn't I want those Prismatic Endings in? I sure did. Thanks for asking. Okay, here we go. Zenith, Endurance, Plow. Sounds pretty good. Do I want to fire for the Dryad Arbor or save Zenith to get Halfling? And I think I just want to jump ahead of Daze immediately. Wow, we're getting a Force of Will on my turn 1 Green Sun Zenith. That's sick. Fair enough. The most aggressive Stone Rain you've ever seen. Thoughtseize. All right, they're picking me right apart. Endurance is gone. Basic Force doesn't cast Brainstorm. Yo, okay. Well then, I'm going to fetch for Tundra and Zenith for a Halfling. Lighted Halfling is in play. If they go in Tomb Reanimate right now from their hand, they win, whatever. You got me. But getting this engine in play, this gets me ahead of soft permission, gets me ahead of all permission, really, because it's Delighted Halfling. And if they play Psychic Frog here, I have the Plow to check their business. Halfling gets ahead of Wasteland as well. Fine with that. And they passed into my turn without the Wasteland. Ooh, Carpet of Flowers. Sick. Okay. I think I'm just going to lead on Carpet. Because this lets me interact with Bowmaster if they're trying to snag my Brainstorm somewhere. I'm just going to move to second main. Make blue, cast Brainstorm. Ooh, the Curator. He's here. The finest little buddy. Uncastable, unfortunately. I think I want to put back Caracas and Curator. And then I'll just play Misty Rainforest and pass. They still haven't wastelanded me. Probably, I mean, I just dumped out 2 mana dorks, so wasting me is a pretty bad deal for them. And they recognize that. There are instance creatures, lands, and sorceries in the graveyard, so Keen-Eyed Curator can become 7/7 pretty quickly. Reanimating my Endurance. Alright, Curator just got smaller, but sure, whatever. If that's how they're using that card, I'm not mad about it. Targeted no one with that. Do I actually want this Curator, or am I just gonna tap out for Zenith? Or try to draw something like Teferi? I think I'm actually going to get the Meticulous Archive in the end step and try to really find one of my bangers. Brainstorm counts. Yes, make blue. Cast Brainstorm. What a mess. Okay, I'll put back these cards. And then I'm going to Zenith for 3. Still playing around Daze, kind of. They could waste my fetch land. Nadu or Leovold? It's probably just Nadu. They could have been holding Wasteland to get Revolt off of a Fatal Push, which is the most played removal spell right now in these decks. Endurance did not attack. I've already shuffled. Halfling off the top. I will make green and play that Halfling. No ways to target yet. This is where the Court of Calling build would be doing the most. Another Wasteland. That ship has long sailed. I wonder what's in their hand. Just a bunch of cards that cost 2 pips, or just a bunch of Dazes and Mana Denial that don't matter now. Okay. I am just gonna chill. Like, drawing Teferi would be insane because that Endurance goes back to my hand. It's like drawing 3 cards if I draw Teferi right now. On deck. Prismatic Ending. I could end the Endurance. I could also just target Nadu with Prismatic Ending for less than 3 colors and draw a card. Okay, yes, make white, blue, and green. Prismatic end my own Endurance. If I can at least start pushing damage, we're doing something here. I'm not worried about Orcish Bowmaster killing a Halfling, because that would flip a card off Nadu. Or it would just eat the Bowmaster if they want to go face. I know I could have made this play several turns ago with the Plow, but leaving up an answer to an Entomb Reanimate situation was more important than playing Draw Go. To me, like being shields down to an Archon, I'd rather play Draw Go versus Endurance in that world. But now that I have a second worse removal spell, and we are just flooding out here, but I am pushing damage. They're dead on board next turn. They can't reanimate anymore, basically anything. And I'll pass. 8 cards in their hand right now. Surely they can cast one of them. They appear to be going to discard, which we might see Archon or Atraxa hit the graveyard here. Archon did, in fact, hit the graveyard. And I ripped another land. Let's see if this attack can get through. If they've been sandbagging Fatal Pushes, they go to 2 and Nadu gets a flip. Blue colorless. Oh, wow, Petty Theft is a sicko. I even get to replay the card right away. Okay. I flipped Tropical Island into play. There's no shortage at all of lands. When it's at 1, it'd be tough to reanimate from here. Ooh, replaying the Nadu or not is interesting, because I can just cast it off Halfling for sure next turn, and it seems likely that the cards they're holding on to are counter spells at this point, because I just haven't cast a spell in 7 turns. They can't Thoughtseize me. They're at 1. They can't reanimate. They can animate dead. They animate resolves. I'm going to Plow before they draw their card. Enforcer Will's really good here. Didn't have it. They're just back at 6. And they'll soon be at 9. I'm going to discard this Plains. Sack a Halfling, lose a Plains. Then we go back to my turn. Nadu's uncounterable. Can we have something that goes with it? Endurance. Okay. I'm going to make green out of the carpet. Make blue out of the Halfling. And replay Nadu Winged Wisdom. And now I'm holding up Endurance, which is another threat and its graveyard hate. The 3rd Wasteland. Let's go. Opponent said crazy game in the chat. I concur. It's been a very weird one. Just nobody doing anything. Me having every land in my deck and you playing the whole game on one Underground Sea. Zenith. That's a Magic card with words on it. So I did board out Huro and Bristly Bill. I have Leovold in here. Sylvan Safekeeper's out too. That would have done Nadu stuff. I think I'm going to try to cast Endurance first. Just, it's so likely that they're holding a Force of Will at this point. I will target you or me. Maybe me. I have a bunch of lands I don't want, but I also have Brainstorms and removal spells and Zeniths that I do want. Okay, yeah, I'll target me. And then 1, 2, 3, 4. Zenith for 3. Okay, I could get Curator, or I could get Leovold. I think it's Leovold. Just a bunch of 3-power creatures versus their 9 life points. Tamiyo can't flip with Leovold in play, because they can only draw 1 card per turn. If they have something like Toxic Deluge, they could completely stabilize this game right now. I would speculate that they boarded out their Force of Wills, but they literally cast one on turn 1. That's just good magic. Okay, so I think I need at least one target effect for Nadu in the Zenith package, where the Court of Calling builds don't have to worry about that, because Cord gets anything. Bill or Safekeeper, what would I rather be playing with? And what do I cut for it? In this last Force of Will, whatever. The fun of, one of, Force of Will. We saw Petty Theft. Gotta imagine Fatal Push is in here. In Bill, gains resources, and Sylvan Safekeeper expends resources. I think I'd rather have Bill between the two. And I don't think I have room for both. So this is what I'm doing. I will keep my hand. I love a Carpet of Flowers. Underground Sea. Do they have the Thoughtseize? They do. Do they want Nadu or Carpet? I have 2 big problems for them in my hand. Took the Carpet. Reasonable decision. Zenith is dope. I'm going to send it on the Zenith. Just ramp my mana up and make them potentially concerned about Nadu this turn. JK, another Thoughtseize. They could reanimate my Nadu. That would be annoying. And their deck's not very good at targeting Nadu, but neither's mine. LOLOL. I love that halfling. Ponder finds Brainstorm and Nomads. I will take the Brainstorm, put the Nomads on top, and cast Halfling off of Dryad Arbor. Let's get these pieces into play. Passing turn 2 with 4 mana. Green decks are fun sometimes. Until my opponent casts Entomb here, then it's not fun anymore. They fetched Undercity Sewers, and they kept the card. Wasteland. I'm mostly ahead of that. Okay, no longer ahead of Wasteland as well. I'm drawing Nomad. Meticulous Archive is the card that's under Nomad. I'm going to start with Ponder and hope they don't have Bowmaster. They did not. I'll take the other Ponder. Fetch for a Tundra. Yeah, they can actually take me off white here with their Wasteland. Oh wow, that's a lot of white cards all of a sudden. I am going to keep this. And they haven't Bowmastered me yet, so I'm just going to attack with Dryad Arbor. They're 14, let's go. Brainstorm. Big changes. We had whittled their hand down to a bunch of cards that clearly weren't Bowmaster or Entomb. But now we don't know what's going on. Could be anything. There's a land. They have exactly what they need here to cast Psychic Frog and turn off Swords to Plowshares on it. I think I'm just going to hold up Endurance and pass. Because if I Brainstorm now, I'm seeing Swords to Plowshares and 2 unknowns. And if one of those unknowns is in a fetch land, I'm going to be pretty bummed out. Another Wasteland. Yuck. And I'm just going to cast Endurance here. Start testing the waters. If they daze me, they have 1 card in hand, but with this Wasteland, now daze is likely to get me somewhere anyway. Target myself. I have the only target for a reanimate right now, and I'd love that Carpet of Flowers and all those dead lands to get back in the mix. Okay, Brainstorm. Please don't have a Bowmaster. I'd be so dead. Shit, they're tapping mana. We're so dead. Fuck. Yeah, that's bad. They didn't have that before they Brainstormed, and now they do have it. It's a tough beat. And the tougher beat is that I did not draw an answer to it. That one Wasteland taking out my Tundra is life and death here. They are going after Endurance, though, which means that Keen-Eyed Curator might still take over this game. 7/7 is so big. And I can't not cast it because it could waste me off it. Raccoon Scout. It's in there. It has to solo the game because I have no other plan right now. I am Brainstorm locked. They have the biggest creature in play. I'm at 15 from the Orc attack. I have untapped with my Curator. And I'm just going to attack with Curator. And then passing. This can be a 7/7 trample next turn. I just don't have 4 mana. Got a second Sewers. Little passive selection. They can get in for 5 here if they'd like to, leaving back Bowmaster. It's got to hope one of those 2 cards in their hand isn't a Fatal Push, I guess. Black in the pool. Did I speak it into existence? Oh, Reanimate? I was going to exile that anyway. Let's go. Counter that. Okay, that's gone. 1 card left in hand. They're wasting me. I'm going to float blue. Then I'll exile Wasteland, I guess. In the end step, exile Brainstorm. And now I just need a sorcery, and I have a 7/7 trample. I'm going to exile Thoughtseize and just hope that my creature doesn't die here. Opponent's at 3. They do not have a removal spell. This is not a drill. Now I have the biggest creature. I have them dead on board to combat for Xaxes if they don't draw something right now. Raccoon Scout, let's go. Look at all these little objects that he has. He's got a little cup, an acorn, a ribbon, a fish. That's what a 7/7 looks like. Psychic Frog. I don't care about that. Like, I don't need to fire off Graveyard Hate in response is what I mean. I think that would have been in play if they had it any earlier. And now I'm out of my Brainstorm lock for the first time in history. I'm going to exile Fatal Push now. If they want to jump the frog, it's whatever. Like, this isn't Scavenging Ooze. It's not going to get any bigger. It has the things that it needs to have at this point to do what it does. 7, 4, 5, 6, 7. I mean, they can beat this in combat. It's going to cost them everything, though. But everything is better than being dead. Okay, I'm going to move Psychic Frog to the front. That's the one I'm most worried about. They can make that 2/3. And I can finish off the Orc army. If they don't discard, I get everything here, and my creature survives, so they do have to discard. Force of Will. I don't think eating anything out of graveyards matters here, so we'll just take the trade and hope to draw a white source before the game is over. The second I draw a white source, we're cooking. Black in the pool, reanimating Psychic Frog, that was a good follow-up. Basically, the best it could be. Yeah, I guess exiling 2 cards out of their graveyard would have been worth it for future frog jumping capabilities, and I've just not drawn a white source, but I've drawn every white card in my deck since that Tundra got wastelanded. And now Frog's going to start doing the thing that it does. Literally just 8 planes wins me this game. Now they have 2 cards in hand, which means Frog survives Endurance jumping in if I draw a non-planes land. Oh my goodness. Actual heckin' planes. Do I want to plow or ending? I think I'm just going to end the Frog. Use the more expensive, more awkward thing if I can. I don't think they play Spell Pierce, and I can daze either one. We did it. Oh no, mana's being spent. We're flashing in Brazen Borrower, getting those beats through. Okay, here we go. The pressure continues. Brainstorm. Oh no, don't dig out of this. I just fouled my stupid land. Come on! Oh, this is so good. Okay. Well, they attack me for 4 here. Land is still my best draw, but I can still play the game without a land for a little while. I get 1 more turn without a land, but land is great. That is the worst draw imaginable. I'm going to plow Brazen Borrower. That keeps me alive for 1 second. And now it's too late to draw a fetch land. I have to rip an actual Magic the Gathering Forest. Carpet of Flowers is probably the best draw in my deck. It's in there somewhere. I don't think I've shuffled. I think it's on the actual bottom of my deck, though. Cycling Troll. Please reanimate the Troll. With Reanimate, not with Animate Dead. They got a basic Swamp. Come on, deck. That's not a forest. It does cast a blocker, though. Nomad can block. And I could plow an orc. Okay, I'm passing the turn. Ponder. I'm saving this plow until combat. I understand it's more likely to resolve if they don't see more cards first, but getting them to overcommit, like send the squad thinking they can push through, I block Bowmaster, plow the other Bowmaster, then they don't have a Bowmaster. That's kind of what I'm hoping for here. They didn't shuffle Ponder, though. That's bad news. Okay, squad is coming. Block one of the Bowmasters. Plow the other one. Fingers crossed. Can I stabilize it too? Ooh, that resolved. And if they reanimate, they just have a Bowmaster again. Like, that card is very good. Had this Endurance in my hand for like 5 turns and haven't had a green card. But Bowmasters are clear right now. I can fire the Brainstorm. There's a black in the pool. They're in the damage step. Let's move to second main so you can cast your reanimate, please. Okay, we're in second main. There's the swamp. Animate Dead targeting Troll of Khazad-dûm. Okay. I'm going to Brainstorm here because I just lose to Bowmaster from hand anyway. And if they daze this, then Teferi sticks. Okay, daze happened. That's fine. Teferi can bounce the Troll. Then I'm at 1, but I'm not at 0. If I draw a white source... Ooh, okay. Well, awkward white source, but it plays. There is a Tundra still in my deck, but I want double green. There's a Savannah in the deck too. Okay. I'm going to lead on Teferi because I know it resolves here. I'm going to bounce Troll of Khazad-dûm. I can fetch to 1 and then trade off with the Orc Army, and I'm at 1 with a Planeswalker. And then Endurance has to win me the game. Do I want... Oh, I can't get Basic Forest. It has to be Savannah because I have to make white now and green next turn. Savannah, Nomad. Dead to a removal spell, but we know their hand right now is Troll plus Undercity Sewers. Fingers crossed. I'm dead to a reanimate as well because they can reanimate Bowmaster with me at 1. I need to get this Endurance represented. Yeah, you better attack. The game does not get better for you with Nomad in play. Okay, Troll and 1 unknown in hand. Brainstorm is pretty good, though I can't cast it. So I guess I'm just going to pass with Endurance up. Because if I cast Brainstorm, then I can't cast Endurance because my blue source is my green source. You're pondering, and I can't shuffle the Brainstorm anyway unless I gain life somehow. They did not shuffle Ponder. Please cast Reanimate. Murktide Regent, shit! Well, I could have proactively fought against that, but I chose not to. It's fine. I don't want this bigger, so I'm going to Endurance now, which is awkward because that leaves the Troll in hand. Okay, I play other Teferis. Endurance does block flyers for a turn, if it has to. I have 1 plow still in the deck, plus Teferi, and I have to cast this Brainstorm. This might be horrible, but it's what I got. Another Teferi, and a Cavern of Souls. A Cavern on Wizard. Cavern on Wizard, pass. This Teferi was just 1 card deeper, or if I just had another blue, I could have them at 2 life right now. This game is tight. This has been a really good match. No, don't spend mana. No, no! What is going on? 3 mana? What costs 3 in this deck? Oh, Dismember. Deluge for 4? That's exactly enough to kill Endurance and not die. If I found 1 more damage somewhere. Sad. Sick game. Okay, yeah, Wasteland just stun-locked me for about 8 turns, and then we lost by 1 turn. Yeah, I mean, that happens. On to the next round.
This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and everything else you'll see on this channel. There's multiple customizations so you can interact with your deck how you want. Views such as text, grid, or stacks. And groupings like type, subtype, color, color identity, even artist. The site offers light mode, dark mode, and so much more. However you want to see your deck, Moxfield can provide it for you. Follow my Moxfield to keep up with the channel and what I'm playing in paper. I'll see you there.
I'm on the play for round number 2. I'm going to keep this hand that represents turn 2 Nadu. I'm going to Tropical Island Zenith for Dryad Arbor. The temptation is always there to wait a turn and get the halfling and just make sure counter spells aren't going to work. But also, if this is just Eldrazi or Red Prison or Initiative or Painter, I just want to go as fast as possible. So I'm just going to do the thing that is most unilateral until I know what my opponent's up to. And we have a Wooded Foothills into Once Upon a Time situation. Looking like a matchup that's probably correct to just shove Nadu as fast as possible. Could even be the Nadu Pseudo Mirror. I don't know if the Turbo Elves version is playing Once Upon a Time. Yeah, this looks like Maverick to me. Who has Once Upon a Time and Moloch in their deck? Noble Hierarch. Okay, so Moloch can come down next turn and kill my Dryad Arbor, which means I'm incentivized to do something this turn. I'm going to get Tundra and cast Nadu. There it is. Moloch fights a creature when it comes into play. It's a 2/2 at base, and it comes in with X+1 counters. It could kill my Dryad Arbor, but I get to flip off Nadu if we do that. And if I get this Caracas into play, it's going to be really hard for them to kill Nadu forever. I could also Zenith for William next turn and kind of start popping. There's a Savannah. Another Hierarch. Can still Moloch here if they don't have something better to do. What I don't want to happen here is Swords to Plowshares. I'm not ready. They can attack with their 3/4. I'll block with my 3/4. You better believe it. Okay. I think Zenith for William, play Caracas is my turn. I'm going to get Bristly Bill. And Sylvan Safekeeper would keep my stuff safer, but I think Caracas, when every important card in play is a legend, is going to do just as well. And I'll attack for 4 flying. And I did come up with a blue card for Force of Will, if that becomes important to me. Opponent can Moloch for a lot here, but I don't care. X needs to be 5 or greater for them to draw a card when it enters, not power 5 or greater, but actual X. So it needs to be a 7/7. Oh, that Wasteland's annoying. But they're spending mana instead. So this is a Moloch for 4. Do I even care about this? I don't think so. Okay, so Nadu trigger. Bill makes Nadu bigger. Nadu triggers again. Bill makes Bill bigger. A Nadu is about to be 6 toughness. I can make it 7 with a fetch at any point, so I'm going to spread the love around. 6, and then fetch. Now I was just going to bounce it with Caracas anyway. It was never going to die, but now we get to go bananas instead. Ooh, Nomads on top of my deck. Let's get a party going. I could bounce Bill still and get a flip, but I don't need it. Just leave that Caracas up. Zoom, gamers. Here we go. Okay, sweet. Nice. I think I like Leovold and Prismatic Ending. I think I don't like Force of Will. I love cutting Force of Will out of my Magic the Gathering decks. Let me tell you. Endurance is good if they have stuff like Knight of the Reliquary, which they might. Exile target artifact, enchantment, or target creature gains hexproof and indestructible. I mean, this is like Force of Will, I guess, in terms of what matters here, because they're not going to counter Nadu unless they have Pyroblast. They're going to kill it in play, where Collective Resistance is almost better. But before I get too crazy here, asserting my free spells versus a deck that doesn't get to leverage them is another way to look at this. I think I'm out on Endurance till they show me something I need to care about with it. Keen-Eyed Curator still in the deck if I need passive Graveyard Hate. I don't want the full 4 forces, but I do want enough of them. Teferi could be medium. Uro could be medium. Now I have basically no blue cards in my deck. This is 8, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Yeah, this is not a responsible blue card count to support Force of Will. I'll bring Uro back in for that grind. And this is what I'm going to do. Now I have enough forces in there that I can dig for 1 or line up a spot where it matters, but I'm not going to be flooded with them and going 2 for 1 versus cards I could answer 1 for 1. Okay, they are 100% a Wasteland deck. I don't like the Arbor being in my hand with 2 Zeniths, but I do like the Mana Dork. Noble Hierarch, you got it. Delighted Halfling, get in. If they go Wasteland plus Plow, the game might end on the spot. But if they don't do that, if they just play some 3-drop, If they play Knight of the Reliquary here, or Zenith for 2 or something, plow, land drop, move on with life. There's the Wasteland. That's half of my nightmare. Birds of Paradise. They got a lot of dorks in their deck. Wasteland happens. I'll block if you attack. Drawing a land that's not Dryad Arbor would be sick here. We did it. We did it. Please clap. I think a basic forest isn't really exciting here, but getting a second halfling into play is pretty dope. I'm going to go basic forest and just try to mitigate wasteland concern. And I can cast Leovold next turn off these 2 halflings. And then they're welcome to wasteland me, because then I get to draw cards. Moloch would be excellent here. I don't think they have a removal spell, or they would have played it last turn. At least not a traditional one, not like a bolt or a plow. But if they have some stupid creature, like Zenith from Moloch works. Yeah, here we go. There it is. Got me good. Still fetch land, cast Leovold here. Force of Will. Little late to the party, but this is the spot that I mentioned when bringing Force of Will in, or leaving 2 of them in, where it's like these tenuous positions where I just need something to stay stable for 1 turn, and then I can start playing the game. Wasteland, we played around it. I don't care about Dryad Arbor. I never wanted that card around. I don't want to play with you anymore. I'm taking 3 from the Moloch with Noble Hierarch's help. And it is suddenly my turn. Leovold, get in there. I don't expect them to draw many cards, but I do expect them to target my permanent sometimes. Red in the pool. Probably Pyroblast if the Leovold got in, because that came in off Zenith. I think they would have bolted if they had one. Pyroblast makes sense for a card they could have at this point. Look at that. Sherlock effing Holmes over here. I think this is worth a force. Get to keep Leovold. Found a land which spins up Nadu. I will not be blocking Moloch. And it's my turn again. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, Spaghetti-O. I'm going to get Tundra. And we're going to do the thing. Please don't have opposition agent. I don't even know. Like with Birds of Paradise, they can do anything here. It's happening. Oh no, we're just surveilling 1 in response. Into Dark Depths, okay. So there's a depths package confirmed around here. Nadu's in. They target any of my shit. I get a Leovold draw and a Nadu flip. I don't think I'm attacking into these. Endurance could just come in and eat my Leovold. And next turn, I'm just gassed up for letting it rip. Could this be a natural order deck? I mean, it literally could. I don't think it's going to, but I do lose to Greater Hope Behemoth right now. And the 3rd Wasteland. This one at least draws a card. It's a fairy. I can cast that. Birds of Paradise, 1 card left. My next white source ends the game, and there it is. And I can even get Teferi in first, so nothing could ever go wrong. Uncounterable Teferi. Fetch. Basic Plains, and lights out. Nomads En-CAW. And this is the experience of fair decks playing against Nadu. And their deck was very cool. I like that Maverick is viable, or maybe this is Naya Depths, but it seems more Maverick-y, but there is a Depths package. I don't know how to really classify the difference between these decks. Sometimes the lines blur. But if you're trying to do stuff like ramp out a Zenith for Moloch, get a good trade, and then this shit starts happening, it's just not a good matchup. I know I've told this story on the channel before, but the weekend MH3 came out, Roland Chang was in town for a series of tournaments, and I'll never forget the image of him just face down on the table, like his head resting in the crook of his elbow on the table as he was playing Death and Taxes, while his opponent just targeted a bunch of shit with Nadu, with Shuko. And he was just, what can I ever do here? And the answer is nothing. On to the next round.
The BoshNRoll channel is proudly partnered with the Resleevables.
Good. All right, here we go, gang.
In this YouTube series, hosts Cedric Phillips and Patrick Sullivan take us on a set-by-set journey through the good, the bad, and the ugly of Magic's history. Each episode is a focused deep dive into the facts about a set's design and release. the magic lore expressed through the cards in that set, Tournament Edition gameplay videos featuring products and Pro Tour decks of the era, an award show that shouts out the best and weirdest cards of the set, and a final grade for the set's overall success. Whether you want a history lesson or a nostalgia hit, The Receivables has it at youtube.com/thereceivables.
I'm on the play for round 3. My opponent says hello, YouTube, and me. Hello, Termagarf. Termagard, it's Termagarf. I'm going to keep my hand. The Ermagard Gersparms are my favorite Burks. Girl meme is one of the early internet memes. Maybe I'm showing my age here, but that slayed me the time that I saw it. Actually, just last weekend, I played in a local draft open. We drafted Bloomborough and then Strixhaven, and the top 8 was Return to Ravnica block. And when I cast Krakenura, I yelled Ermagard Krakenura so loud it startled a child. And then my opponent yelled back, Ermagard is Krakenura. And then we just made that Ermagard sound back at each other for a long time. And that's the gathering, folks. Those are the memories we built when we play this game. I'm going to get my basic. I might be a coward for doing that, but Undercity Sewers is a color of mana that could represent Wasteland. This Teferi's a sicko. I actually get all of these cards, so I go Flooded Strand on the bottom, then Teferi, then Delighted Halfling. Then I play this Halfling. Then one of these Halflings, if one of them survives the turn, which I hope one of them does, I get to play Teferi, minus Teferi, draw the land, and we're doing everything. Cycling Troll of Khazad-dûm, here we go. Please reanimate that. Please reanimate that. Please reanimate that. Underground Sea. Let's go. This is just Teferi entering the battlefield and lava axing my opponent. Not try to rub it in or be a bad sport, but this is basically the best exchange I could have ever asked for in my entire heckin' life. Yeet. Now I get this thing, and I'm going to fetch my basic planes and invest this Nomad, which does give away what deck I am, but I also don't care because who else plays Delighted Halfling? I've mostly given it away anyway. I've got a Tameo and fetching Pluto Delta. Forg, Ermagard, Ferg. I'm going to be doing that the whole league. You can't stop me. Opponent initiated this. Nadu? It's Nadu, but it'll do. I'm a sick freak. Okay. I do have Swords to Plowshares in my deck. I wonder if my opponent will concede immediately. I think I'd rather leave up blue in case I need to see more cards. Yeah, okay, they're just conceding immediately. Sure, we did it. Okay, a Dimir Tameo deck with Reanimate in it. That's one of the important things to sniff out when you're playing against these frog decks in game 1. Do they have Reanimate? Could they potentially Reanimate or you? Things that would indicate that they have Reanimate are A, did they cast Reanimate, which my opponent did, and Troll of Khazad-dûm could technically be used as just land cycling, land filtering, but why would you play that instead of like Bloodstained Mire if you're not going to reanimate it? Okay, I think I botched sideboarding of this matchup a little bit last time. Like having Uro in the mix, something that can gain life and draw cards off of a Zenith and like build a whole plan by itself around Zenith is important. Having a way to target Nadu off of Zenith is important. I like Teferi quite a lot. I like the Graveyard Hate. Maybe I don't need all 3 endurances, but that is my force of will. It's also just a viable creature versus a lot of what they do. I could see cutting a Teferi. I could see shaving a Halfling. I could see only boarding in 1 endurance for a total of 2. What I did last time was cut Uro in the slot, and I don't think I like that. I think I'm actually going to shave a Halfling. So that's a bad top deck, even though it's really good on turn 1 and 2. It's very bad to draw on turn 5. And especially the post-board juke games might go long. So here we go. That's how I'm thinking about that. I don't know if I'm right, but it makes sense to me right now. Yikes. I'm keeping the hand, but needs green real bad. But if I find green, I'm ready. Underground Sea, Thoughtseize. Don't take my forest. JK, I don't have one. I have 2 mana dorks that I can't actually cast. I have a combo piece and a removal spell. I could see arguments for any of these. If they still are on full Entomb Reanimate, maybe they take the Endurance and send it next turn. But now they know I kept a hand without green, so when I play my basic forest on turn 1, they can be extra salty and it would be reasonable. Carpet of Flowers is gone. Delighted Halfling. Not what I wanted. I didn't draw the forest because they took the carpet. It's a cascading effect. Okay. Wasteland's good now and they know it. I think I'd rather hold up Plow than invest a Raw Dog Nomad. Was Nomad dying to Orcish Bowmaster is insanely embarrassing. That card should not die to Orcish Bowmaster in your deck full of X2s and X3s and X4s. Not a Wasteland, we did it. That is what they just tutored for with Frog, Bin to Scalding Tarn. They know I have Ending in hand. They don't know about Plow. These are the cards I've drawn this game that they don't know about. Reanimate the Troll. This is basically just a wash, because the Troll replaced itself on the way to the graveyard. The Reanimate replaced itself with the Troll, and then they gained back the same 6 life they just lost. So this is just a 1-for-1, even though it's a very fancy 1-for-1. A double G card? Maybe I'm supposed to play Nomad there, but all the things I said about just losing a Nomad for no value, just not really interested in that happening. Undercity Sewers, still not a Wasteland, and they'll probably bin whatever to start working through the Brainstorm. Come on, fetch land, green source, Nomads En-CAW. Okay, now I have 2 of these, so 1 can die, it's fine. That's the turn. It didn't get Bowmastered immediately. That's good news. It got Bowmastered later. Next 1 damage dealt to Nomad is dealt to target creature. It can target itself. Got him. That'll teach you. Forest. Shit. Could have ended the Bowmaster. I'm not really worried about Bowmaster. I'm more worried about Psychic Frog. I'm most worried about finding a green mana. Okay. Now I kind of wish I had killed the Bowmaster last turn, but taking 1 here, if it unlocks my hand, which it doesn't, shuffle this. Shuffle! Cavern of Souls. Cavern on Halfling. Off we go. Or I could Cavern Bird next turn. Interesting. In Cavern on Halfling or Citizen. They're the same. I think it's funnier to name Citizen. Make my opponent wonder if there's any other Citizens in my deck. There's certainly not any other Halflings. Fatal Push, you did it. 3 damage. Life total starting to drop here. Psychic Frog finally deployed a Brainstorm. I'm gonna Prismatic Ending the Frog. They knew this was gonna happen. Let's see what their plan is to fight it. Force of Will. Yeah, that's good. Citizen. I can still win this game if I untap with this Citizen in play. I'm going to take at least 3 here, depending on how many cards they want to discard. There are no blocks I will entertain. Oh, they jumped the Frog. Didn't need to do that. I wasn't going to block. But if they don't have an answer to the Halfling, well, then that's a reason not to jump the Frog, because, oh no, they just discarded Archon. I am holding Endurance, and they know that. Well, I mean, this is obviously happening. And they just Force of Willed something last turn. Wowie zowie. I didn't think this would work. Get rid of your graveyard. And they didn't necessarily know I had a green card. Entomb. Oh no. Do they have Reanimate also? Just the double send? Well done. Okay. You got me. Sick. Alright. Reanimation package still in. That game brought to you by 0 green mana for 7 turns. I still don't like Force of Will. I don't care about Collective Resistance. I think my plan is still fine. Just gotta cast spells. I'm gonna keep this hand. No dorks, but I boarded one of them out, and we can just roll out mana like normal. It's got some bangers in it. The deck can't actually cast Leovold off of lands. I would have to name Elf or Advisor with Cavern, or Zenith for it, or Halfling it out. I think that is noteworthy. But I don't fear it. I also have Brainstorm in my hand. Carpet of Flowers. What's up? Okay, I'm going to go Plow, Carpet, Tundra, because I don't want them to Thoughtseize my carpet like they did last game. Ponder, you did it. Okay, I'm going to run out Tundra to play around Daze. If you don't want me to have Carpet in play, it's going to cost you 2 cards. Ooh, they want me to have Carpet in play. I am not going to cast a follow-up card here. I don't want to just brainstorm into the void. Carpet makes black too. That's another source for Leovold. Cycling Troll, grabbed a basic swamp. It's in play. Reanimate. Kajamo. I can plow this thing and also Teferi this thing this turn. Okay. I'm going to make white and then plow the troll, because if they defend this with Force of Will, I'd rather resolve the Teferi. Now I feel silly for wasting that, but it's okay. I think getting the troll out of play either way is pretty good. And I think I'm just going to... I could brainstorm. Yeah, I'm going to brainstorm. All right, B-Storm. Ooh, my Raccoon Scout. I'm going to put back Teferi and Leo, and then cast my Raccoon Scout. If they're going to daze something, this thing is the least offensive. And if they're going to Thoughtseize me, discarding Uro is great. Fatal Push, goodbye, my sweet Raccoon Scout. You will never know this life. I'm going to make white off of Carpet again, and go a blue and a colorless. Fetching in response, Bowmaster is pretty good against Teferi. Yep, there's that. Okay, Bowmaster resolves. I'm going to cast Teferi Time Raveler and Palouse. If I minus, I can clear the Bowmaster, put Leovold in my hand, and Teferi dies to combat. If I plus, Teferi is still in play, and I could just cast Leovold next turn. That sounds decent. And then, if Leovold's in play, it becomes very hard for them to Bowmaster me effectively. Because they Bowmaster me, I could draw a card. Then they Bowmaster me, then I could draw another card. And then they really have to decide where they're going to put their energy. Second Bowmaster makes this pretty exciting. Okay, Teferi gets super tiny. Still alive, though. I'm going to make black. Black, green, and off of this basic land, blue. And with a black floating, plus Teferi, and cast Uro. And they can decide what they want to do with these Orcish Bowmasters. How many cards do you want to give me? I will put this land into play. Okay, they're giving me 0 cards. They're just going for their Orc army. Fair. Cowardly, but fair. They've played this game before. I get to put Uro into play next turn, and I can fetch Meticulous Archive in the meantime. 2 cards in hand over there. Hardcast Grief. Undercity Sewers. Bin to Undercity Sewers. Fatal Pushing my Leovold. I will draw a card. Yes. Nomad. Still pinging their Orc army, which is still pretty good. That thing's really big now. And Leovold is deceased. Okay. They did not play around removal, but they got rewarded for it. Reasonable deduction that I don't have it. Fetch for Meticulous Archive. Ponder. That's super risky with 2 of these jerks in play. I'm going to bin the Ponder. I'm going to draw at least 1 card this turn because I'm playing Uro. Yes, make green. Blue, blue. I guess I should exile the creatures from my graveyard in case they reanimate me. Nadu off the top would be sick. No chance. All right. Windswept Teeth, you're in. Yeah, this Orc army just being 8/8 at this point is a tough beat. Okay. Play Dryad Arbor, cast Nomads En-CAW. I'm all in. The Nomad can beat the Orc army in combat. I can chump it, send all the damage over to Uro, or I could just block with Uro. I could also block with Dryad Arbor, who is going to die anyway when I escape the Uro. Yeah, I'm going to block with Dryad Arbor. Brainstorm is in my deck, but I don't really want to cast it. I guess leaving this Windswept Teeth is still right. Bristly Bill's in here. Okay. Teferi. Yes, play Teferi. Make white mana. Blue. Teferi. I can bounce the Orc army and reset the clock here. It'll be 4/4 again immediately, because I bounce this, they ping twice, kill Teferi. I think this is the way, though. Alright, bounce Orc army. Get your Prismatic Ending, that's pretty good. Okay. My next damage this turn goes to Uro. Just using the card as printed. Teferi's gone. Uro's still alive. I still have all this white floating. Green-white. Exile one of these Bowmasters. And attack with Uro. Now we are ahead of the Bowmaster shenanigans. I'm not going to put that into play. This damage goes to Uro. They would have to lose their Bowmaster to beat Uro in combat right now. All right, let's go. We're gaming. Game on. 8-8 is down to 3-3. Interesting. Oh, okay. If that Bowmaster attacks, I have to read it as a removal spell. Okay, cool. They're just not attacking at all. Hard locked by the Nomad. Re-Nomad. I'm just going to say no to Carpet for now and attack with Uro and see what happens. Oh, this is so many lands. Move the damage onto Uro. The cool thing is, even if they get the creature big enough to kill Uro, I can just play it from the graveyard, and I'm quite happy with that outcome. I'm going to make white, and I'm going to cast Nomad. This bonus Nomad, and passing the turn. They have no Orc army. It's getting closer, crawling towards inevitability. Bowmaster can't attack. Oh yeah, more of that is what I needed. I'm going to attack with Uro. A Brainstorm, okay, that's interesting. How I want to fire this off. All right, yeah, they're just going face at this point. They realize they're not going to get through me here. And here's a fun trick. Now I can Brainstorm and the Orc army will just die, and this is a 6-6 anyway. Sweet. Teferi's nice. Sandbagging all of these lands finally paid off. Put back 2 of them. Do they want to kill Uro? Seems they do. I'm happy to escape him. A deal. Uro's dead. Second main. Trigger. Put blue in the pool. Fetch. Get this. Tundra. Play. Teferi Time Raveler. I expect they have a counterspell by this point. Yeah, there's the Hardcast Force. That's fine. And then Uro returns. Back. Drawing cards again. I'm glad I didn't board out this Uro. Holy smokes. What a good card. And I just found Nadu. And they're back to pinging my Nomad. And I don't think they have a force. So I will cast this Nadu that is protected from daze and then start spamming. Let's go. We got the GGs. Those actually were GGs. For sure. Armagerd, Roberta Garf. On to the next round.
We're a few rounds into the video. Thanks for sticking with me. Friendly reminder that if you're still here and having fun, smash that subscribe button. And if you want to play what I'm playing, you can use my affiliate link for TCG Player to support the channel while you shop for cards, and you can try any deck anytime with a cardhoarder.com loan account for Magic Online. All these links are in the video description below. Now back to the league.
I'm on the play in round number 4. I'm going to keep my hand that has Ponder in it and does some stuff. I really hate Dryad Arbor. I played Elves for a very long time across many tournaments, across many formats where it wasn't good, like Top Miracles. I was playing Elves most of that format. Don't ask why. I can't explain it. But having Dryad Arbor in your opening hand is just the worst. Okay, I could place Force of Will in my hand and then die if they wasteland me. I could shuffle this, and then I don't have Force of Will if they do something messed up. I think shuffling this is the correct play. Draw another card that's not a land. If they're not a wasteland deck, I'm actually totally fine here. But if they are, it's bad. Chrome Mox. Okay, kind of wish I had that Force of Will now. Pitching Fury. Could get Blood Mooned, or I mean, I can handle a Rabble Master, or just some dope like that. If they introduce the Initiative, I have Dryad Arbor, I guess. Like, I'm not that far away from fighting it. If they Blood Moon me, I'm locked out for a while, but I do have one of each basic in the deck to dig for. Rabble Master it is, okay. Come crawling faster, Rabble Master. Very happy to see just a normal-ass land here. That means I can invest Nomads En-CAW and hold up Plow, or I could Ponder and hold up Plow. I'm going to Ponder. I think I need to know what's going on for this game more than I need to get one of my combo pieces in. I like these Plows. I like the Zenith as well. I'm going to have to shuffle it away, though, based on how I played these. The way I sequenced here. Yeah, I'm going to put Plow in my hand. I'm going to play Windswept Heath, and I'm going to pass. Boom, zoom, boomby dooms. I have to Plow the Rabble Master here, because the broadside, that just feeds the broadside material forever. I'm not going to play around Blood Moon because I don't believe that I can if I'm going to do anything else this game. This Keen-Eyed Curator is a tough sell. GG is a lot to ask. Opponent's in for 3 instead of 1,000, and they don't have good material to throw at me rather than having good and free material to throw at me. I like all of those things better than the alternatives. I'd love to Zenith for 0 here, but I can't because Riot Arbor's in my hand. I'm going to play Arbor and Nomad and pass with Plow. Depending on what they do here, I'll probably Plow the Broadside at the start of combat. I can protect Nomad from a Broadside Fling or from a Fury Wave, but I'd lose Dryad Arbor if I did that. I'd rather they just didn't do that. Pitch Simian Spirit Guide. We got a big spell coming. Oh, did they unpitch it? Okay, I saw it go to exile and they must have backed it off. Beginning of combat. I'm going to Plow the Broadside. I don't think seeing a Simian Spirit Guide go into exile and then go back into their hand changes the fact that I need Broadside gone. It's very nice to Motobug back into this Zenith that I shuffled away. This is the card I wanted. If I can rip a land next. If A, Dryad Arbor is still in play, and B, draw a land, those are both good outcomes here. I'm now in a spot where Blood Moon sucks ass. The Simian Spirit Guide is back in exile. I didn't imagine that. Shatter Skull Smashing. Make sure this doesn't have any text about being redirected. Deals X damage, and it doubles if it's more. Okay, so... Well, this is actually interesting because Dryad Arbor is more important to me than Nomad because I have a backup Nomad, but I kind of need lands. Why didn't they split this damage? Divide it as you choose. They could have just... Okay. Sure, Nomad's dead. They could have made sure Dryad Arbor was dead. I think you're supposed to go 1-1 there. And we did come up with the land for Zenith. So I will shove Nadu into play. Done. Here's Nadu Winged Wisdom. And I'm sandbagging the other Nomad. This play made possible by just letting Nomad die. Blood Moon, I mean, that's annoying, but I'm ahead on board. I do play a Plains. Just going to start attacking. Here we go. There's plenty of things they could do that flip this. They haven't played a land since turn 1. Red in the pool. We know their deck has Fury in it. Yeah, Vexing Bauble, whatever. They'll probably cycle that close to immediately. Fairy Time Raveler, you're late. Attack for 4. I'm on a 13 turn clock. They're on a 5 turn clock. The Bauble, as predicted, cycled immediately. They're up to 3 mana now. Now they could quickly turn the clock around with just like most things. Yeah, that's a good one. Now I have to stop attacking. Unless I draw Plains, then I can start shredding. Cavern of Souls, okay. I'm not going to play that. I don't think it matters. I am just going to pass. Yeah, this Rabble Master just has Nadu beat, and then I lose. Yeah, so this Savannah, I did use... This was the one where I made the decision not to get basic Plains, because I wanted access to green. And the Dryad Arbor never died, but it could have if they played correctly. And I have not had another green source besides that at any point. Yeah, I think it was correct to fetch Savannah, just... They came up with Blood Moon on exactly the turn where it mattered. Fable. Gotta rip Plains right now or we're dead. They have enough goblins that Rabble Master will continue being bigger than Nadu forever. Big moment right here. Basic Plains. Not a basic Plains. Alright. You did it. Sad. A prismatic ending comes in. Collective Resistance. Finally. Time to shine. Exile an artifact and an enchantment. Their deck has all those things. Force of Will is good, Endurance is bad, Keen-Eyed Curator is bad. Sylvan Safekeeper is like fine, but mostly bad. I don't know, I don't like this card in general in Nadu Shells if you can't go full infinite. Maybe I'm weird, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just not respecting the full implications of that, but you just need so many materials in place before that starts being good. Yeah, I don't like it. Force of Negation can hit Blood Moons and block pieces, but it also gets got by Vexing Bauble. I'm not going to bring in Consigned to Memory. Yeah, I think I'm just going to play like this. Prioritize fetching my basics, now that I know the matchup. Like, keep a hand that can afford to do that. This is not really what I meant by keep a hand with basics. This is weirdly close. I think if, like, one of these dual lands or Cavern of Souls was just any spell, I would be in for this hand, but as it stands, we can ship it. Okay, I have access to basic Plains here, or basic Island as needed. I could also just try to send it on turn 2 Nadu. Definitely keeping. If I Zenith for Dried Arbor and they go turn 1 Blood Moon, that sucks. Okay, I'm putting Meticulous Archive on the bottom. I think I am gonna just Flooded Strand pass, play like a coward. Because if they play something like Chalice of the Void this turn, I can Zenith for Halfling, fetch basic, Plains, Halfling is my blue, and then I can still cast Nadu in the future. Exiled some card I need to read. Sundering Eruption, destroy target land. Okay, this is mostly just an untapped flip card. Okay, I understand. And I'm not impressed. Nomads, all right. Fetching for basic, I think Plains is more important than Island. And then Zenith for the Halfling. Plains doesn't cast or Nadu next turn, though. Was that supposed to be an Island? I don't know, I feel like Swords of Plowshares is better than Brainstorm. I don't know, we'll see. I'm casting cards if they have Blood Moon. I can add to the board, I can remove some stuff. If they don't play Blood Moon and don't kill Halfling and I draw a land, I just have the whole combo ready to party. And they played a tap land and pass the turn. Land? Oh my god. Fetch for a blue. And I'm going to cast Nomad first. This is the sequence that they cannot stop, because I can redirect damage from Nomad onto Halfling. Blue, green, colorless, Nadu. They can't Pyroblast this. They would need something like Sudden Shock. Am I supposed to proactively put the next 2 damage from Nomad onto Halfling? That would be weird, but maybe correct. I don't know. All right, looks like they do have a Pyroblast, probably. Cool. Played around it as well as I could. Target Nadu again. Flip the Caracas. We got a Trop. And target Nomad. Flip the replacement Nadu, target Nomad. Hey, I drew Force of Will. I win now. If they have a second Red Blast, they could Red Blast my Force, which is a little annoying. Okay, I'm going to force pitching Ponder. I'm going to respect the fact that they might have another Pyroblast, and that's why I held back the Nadu. They did have another Pyroblast. I'm going to Brainstorm here and see if I can just shut the door. I cannot shut the door. Put back Tundra and Brainstorm, and I will allow Nadu to die. Oh, I forgot I still had a Nadu trigger. That should have been Tundra coming into play. My bad. Okay. I can rebuild the combo next turn. I could have Swords of Plowshares up right now. That's definitely loose. But we drew 6 cards and flushed out 2 Pyroblasts. They can't kill Nomad with Broadside. Broadside's attacking. Not blocking. Do they fling the Chrome Mox? It doesn't work, but do they know it doesn't work based on how the... Okay. Yeah, based on how the Shatter Skull smashing went last game, I suspect they don't know this is going to work. I'm just putting some extra triggers on there. Because I can. Okay. No. Halfling is dead. Nomads are in play. And now we go again with that Tundra that should be in play. Nadu, Winged Wisdom. And they scooped. Cool. Game 3. I gotta get one on the draw now. Pyroblast confirmed. I'm not sure if that makes Teferi better or worse. I don't think I'm interested. That's just too many Teferis, and it's pretty lackluster after your opponent gets like more than one thing in play. The Force and Negations are just calling to me. This gives me more ways to not get mooned out on turn 1. Even though I don't want them in the deck, I feel like at least one is necessary. Yeah, maybe the Teferis should just chill. Maybe I just bring in 1 Force, leave 1 Teferi. Teferi is a generic permanent answer that I appreciate in the matchup. Like if you can buy 1 turn to do stuff, sometimes that's enough. This is where I died at turn 1 Blood Moon with Teferi in my hand instead of Force. This has 2 of my basics, including the white one. It's very bad against turn 1 Moon, and they snap kept 7. I think I mulligan this hand. Okay, I'll keep this hand. And I'm going to put one of the... the Zenith is good. I mean, having double Force is really nice. Okay, I'm going to put away Zenith and have double Force available. City of Traders. Simian Spirit Guide. Blood Moon. Force of Negation. We did it. The 1 of Force of Negation I brought in actually came up big here. That means I get to keep Force of Will in my hand, which can answer creatures, which is what most of their deck is. Halfling plus basic island, cast Nadu whenever I find it. Leading on City of Traders is pretty awkward, and they didn't follow it up with Chrome Mox. Spirit Guide, Magoose of the Moon. Well, this is interesting because I do have Island, which casts Brainstorm. The Delighted Halfling casts Teferi and Nadu. Alright, this might be a fuck around and find out situation, but I'm going to do that. They're down to 3 cards in hand. They still only have 1 mana to play the game on. I'm on a 10 turn clock. They're on a 20. Here comes this damage. Can I just draw Nadu? That would be sick. Not today. Attacking with Halfling. Ancient Tomb. That was clearly their draw for turn. Prismatic Ending. We're getting close, team. Misty Rainforest in play. Now I have an interesting choice. I could fire this Brainstorm, which is my blue card for Force, but also unlocking some spells here would be really good. All right, I'm going to Brainstorm. They might just Pyroblast it. Okay, they did just Pyroblast it. I'm a little worried at this point. And this is the point in the video where the yahoos in the comments are like, why didn't you force the Blood Moon? That obviously is going to kill you. It's like, well, maybe, but also maybe Brainstorm would have been a better card. Maybe I draw Nadu or Teferi or Plains or Forest at any point instead of all the things I did draw. Oh, wait, this is actually good. This is a legend. Hold up, hold up, hold up. This is what I'm talking about. Green, this, Bristly Bill, held back the land drop. Guess what? Now I have a 3/3. Who should have Force of Will Magus of the Moon now? Chrome Mox. Well, that was probably a really good find because their deck functions at 3 mana. Exiled a Blood Moon. Rabble Master doesn't get through Bristly Bill. I'll just block with my 3/3. And now any legend, a Plains, even like Ponder and Brainstorm are fine. Any blue card turns on Force. Nomad so close to useful. But alas, not actually. And now they're just hitting land drops. Screw beats Flood. If somebody has a bunch of lands in play but can't play their spells, they're going to lose to the player who has a bunch of spells in their hand and draws out lands. Okay, I will take 4 here and keep the goblins under control. It's getting spooky. Okay, is a 4/4 or a 2/3 better? I think 2/3 is better. Because I can trade with a Rabble Master, but I don't actually want to do that. I might have to, though, but that takes mana off of me. Like, they have another Blood Moon. They could have just cast another one. They have 3 Blood Moons in their opening hand. Forcing the Blood Moon doesn't even necessarily mean there's not a Blood Moon in play. And then all this other stuff happens, and if they just draw out of it, that's fine. Like, oh my god. It's controlling my search library for a basic land. Oh my god. They're unlocking white for me. That's so sick. And I got a landfall trigger. Let's go. That might be a huge mistake. Yes. Okay. White turns on my removal and Nomads En-CAW. Does this come in tapped or untapped? Tapped. Okay. Green turns on Zenith. And... oh, but I can Prismatic Ending. No, I can't because I only have 2 colors. Can't Ending anything that's actually in play. Forest. Can't quite start doubling off Bill. Green turning on Zenith is really interesting. But white turning on the literal cards that are already in my hand. Yeah, it's actually really tight. I guess the collective resistance doesn't remove Magus of the Moon, so I think Plains is correct here. Plains doesn't cast Nadu, though, which is my best draw, but Forest casts both Nadu and Zenith. Yeah, tricky. And the Nomad's in my hand. The Prismatic Ending. I'd have to draw Forest to actually kill the Magus. Yeah, I think it's right to get the Forest here after much deliberation, despite having 2 white cards in my hand. Target Delighted Halfling. I'm probably trading Bristly Bill for one of these Rabble Masters this turn. Can't really keep 2 of them under control that long. Oh, am I in a forced block situation? 5, 6, 7. Oh, am I just dead? All right, so go to blocks. 5, 6, 7. I can go to 1. What is going on? Oh, why can't my creatures... oh, is that the text on this card? I did all that work. It's control my search library, put it on the battlefield. Creatures without flag. Oh, okay. I did all this work to figure out what the correct thing is, and that actually is just a falter, and the landfall didn't matter. Okay. Yep. So if I force the Magus of the Moon, let's talk about this because it's important. If I force the Magus of the Moon, the Brainstorm is gone, and my hand is some fetch lands. I think I drew the ending and the Nomad later. But if I just draw a blue card that can force that first Rabble Master, then we're not under any real pressure. Live draws were Teferi, Plains, Nadu, which is only 6 cards. But if I draw a cantrip, I can dig. So Ponder and Brainstorm both live too. So that's like 13 good draws. I've had a lot of success in my Legacy and Magic career ignoring lock pieces and just trying to play through them. But sometimes you get got, and this is a get got situation, but I'm not going to feel too bad about it. On to the next round. I'm on the play in the final round. Positive record hangs in the balance. This force doesn't have a blue card to go with it, so it's not really a force. I can just play Meticulous Archive and pass and do some sculpting. I think I am going to do that. I'm going to keep this hand and play Archive. Archive found Sylvan Safekeeper. I don't really want this. If I mill it away, my opponent will know exactly what I'm playing. Cavernon Wizard does cast this, though, and bank the action on Nadu. Like, I could go Nomad plus Safekeeper next turn. I kind of want a Zenith for Halfling next turn, though. I am going to keep this. I'll give it a chance. The Cavernon Wizard overlap is enough. There's matchups where I will regret that greatly, and there's matchups where it's totally fine. Once Upon a Time. Okay. Are we Eldrazi? Is this Maverick again? That would be fun. Oh, no. Not fun. Not fun. Mirror match. Mirror match. Wii U. Oh, and they're on the new version. Good to know. Cavern of Souls on Wizard. And I am actually going to take the time to plow this Quirion Ranger. Do I do this, or do I save this for the Nomad? They might have kept a one-lander where plowing Quirion Ranger is busted. Okay. Here's this Wizard. Right now, I really wish I had a blue card. Savannah. Green. Springheart and Antuco. Yep. They are a real combo deck. I'm a overwhelming value deck. And this is the place where they intersect. Okay, so if I play Nomads now, I can Zenith for Nadu next turn and cross my fingers in the meantime. I'm going to attack. If I can clear the Springheart and Antuco, yeah, they're not going to block here. It's 1 damage or I kill their thing, and killing their thing is really good. Can they go off here from 3 mana? The Nomad's not in play. They have Court of Calling, though, which Springheart and Antuco is basically Dark Ritual for. Okay, so if they fetch, they have 3 creatures. They play Nomad, they have 4 creatures and 2 untapped lands. That's 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, they can Court for Nadu here and win. Or they could even do it on my turn. They can do it whenever they want. Fetch land happens. Quirion Ranger. Any creature they play out, any 1-drop, is a wash on chord math. And here's the chord. Yeah, we're going to lose because we don't have blue card for this force. I'll let them show me the Nadu, then I'll concede. And yeah, like I said, we are kind of the fair version, and they are the deeply unfair version. Well, that sucked. Okay. Endurance is out. Prismatic Ending's in. Does Leovold actually do anything? Keen-Eye Curator definitely doesn't. I have to kind of be the control deck because they're faster than me. Is Leovold better than any card that I'm currently registering? Force of Negation is more interaction with Court of Calling, but this deck plays a bunch of Allosaurus Shepherds. Yeah, I think I'm just going to bring in the endings to try to slow them down a little, and otherwise, this is what we got. I will keep. There is no sequence here that gets me turn 2 to Fairy without drawing another land. So I think I'm just going to get Tundra and play Nomad. Opponent's got a Once Upon a Time. Nadu in hand. It's face up. We know about it. No secrets. Windswept Teeth and a pass. Okay. Drawing that fetch land means that I could have Teferi this turn, but I maybe would have drawn a different card if I had seen it, so that's not even like a real thing to talk about. I think I want to just attack and play Bristly Bill, or play Bristly Bill and attack. I want to do this first so they can't ambush and trade off Dryad Arbor with Nomads. I don't even know if they would do that, but I don't want it to be an option. The alternative there was Zenith for halfling, but my Zenith is my Nadu here. Lost my Nomad in the end step. Guy's Cradle, just cranking him out here. I drew Nadu. That does not help this turn, because I can get 0 triggers off it. I can Windswept Heath to Fairy, bounce, what, Birds of Paradise? Yeah, probably. Okay, Bristly Bill, get a counter. Fetch Tropical Island? Or is it Savannah? I don't think it matters. I'd rather flip white sources and have blue sources in play. So I'm going to get Tropical Island and play to Fairy, bounce Birds of Paradise, attack for 4. Do I attack for 4 or do I leave Teferi in play? All right, I'm not attacking. I'd rather have Teferi in play. They do have a 1/1 in play. I did just bounce the blue source that we knew about. Not a blue source. We're in Ranger. Birds of Paradise. Leaving up white is suspicious. Okay, can I rip the Nomad? Ripped Plow. Does that do anything? Awkwardly, no, because if the Cavern being my land is really awful here, I could spend the turn Zenithing for the Safekeeper. Is that in? Did I cut it? I don't think I did. All right. I left in Safekeeper, and it seems like what I actually want. Okay. Zenith for Safekeeper. Sylvan Safekeeper, you're in. Cavern on Wizard. Put a counter on Safekeeper. Now I'm in this weird spot where plowing the bird denies a blue source. They didn't miss a land drop last turn, actually. Okay, I am going to plow the bird, though. Like, I could have saved that for plowing Nadu, but then they get some number of triggers. Bill can start attacking now. I have a 2/2 to block. This really does feel like having a knife at a gunfight in this dedicated combo construction versus my relatively fair construction. Nantuko on Arbor is sick because now every land they play, they can make another land, which triggers another landfall for every 2 mana they have. It seems like they don't have anything of the sort to cash that out. Yeah, they're just getting an attack on Teferi through. Teferi is not more important than Sylvan Safekeeper right now. Okay, if I draw a fetch land or a Nomad, those are the cards I want most right now. Hey! Sometimes it's there. Blue, green, colorless, Nadu, Nomad, question mark. We're in. A target Bill. The sick part here, though, is that their deck's a combo deck and mine's not, so they might not even need to concede here. All right, I did spike Island Plains Prismatic Ending, which clears the Nantuko, and then I'm good. Sweet. All right, that felt bad. But we did pick apart their dopes. We do have a bunch of white removal in the deck and counter spells. Yeah, let's go. Same shit. Game 3. Positive record in the balance. Everything hinges on this game. I will keep my hand, hit Ram's mana, and tutors a bunch. I'm going to accept that as good enough here. Though the white removal was the difference maker last game. Noble Hierarch is in. They do not have any kind of land destruction, I don't think. So I am going to lean on just doing the most powerful thing with the best sequence of mana that I can. And fetching Trop lets me brainstorm next turn, looking for white removal, and then get a white land and use it. Springheart Nantuko is such a powerful card, just generally speaking. In the collective resistance can exile that, but I'm not bringing in a fringe removal spell just for exactly Springheart Nantuko. Deciding whether to cast or bestow it actually does matter when you're a chord build, because generally bestowing it, it's kind of safer from removal, and you get the upside of copying a creature if you just have some extra mana laying around. But specifically in Chord of Calling builds, having that one extra green body might change the clock of the game. They've tapped and untapped their land several times now, just trying to decide where these things are going. Zenith for 1. Okay. If this gets Query and Ranger, they could cast another spell this turn. The Shep. Alright, you got the Shep. Played around my counter spells that I totally have. Birds of Paradise. Let's go white removal. Nomad is pretty nice, though. I'm going to brainstorm here. I did find white removal. I have a couple options how I can use this. I could go after this Shepherd and pretend I have a counterspell in my hand. I could go after Bird and make their mana worse. Fetch Tundra because the Savannah's in my hand. We got one removal spell, and this might be the last decision I make this game. Shepherd is also their infinite mana sink. Or wait, no, this just makes them 5/5s. It doesn't buff. Okay, never mind. If you listen to the Eternal Glory podcast this week, I talk about how this is an infinite mana sink, but it's not. Okay. Birds of Paradise makes any color. Noble Hierarch makes all the colors in their deck. I don't think I care about Shepherd, but ignoring Shepherd will tell them I don't have a counterspell. I think that's okay. I'm exiling the bird. And I won't be able to block their 2/2, so I'm just going to attack for 1. And whatever happens from here, happens. They cast Nadu. They don't have any target effects right now. Exalted doesn't target. That would be 6 energy if it did. Brainstorm. I could just Zenith up a Nadu, or I could Brainstorm and Zenith up something smaller. I'm going to Brainstorm looking for removal. No removal. Force of Will. Got there. I'm going to put back Force of Will and at Dryad Arbor. God, I hate Dryad Arbor. All right. Dryad Arbor's out. I can Zenith up Bristly Bill this turn, and then I'll have 1, 2, 3, 4 to Zenith Nadu. All right, so Zenith for 2 is the best thing I can do right now. Halfling does play against removal, or Safekeeper plays against removal that we have seen. If I did that, I just missed my chance to play Nomad, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to do it. I don't need Bill if Nomad resolves. I'm going to get Bill. Okay. Let's find out if they have a Nomad on the sandbag here. A Cord does it. Bestowing an Nantuko does get 1 trigger going. They didn't bestow it. That's scarier somehow. Dryad Arbor and Cord last card in hand. GG. Yep, here we go. This is what I mean. Plays like a combo deck rather than what we're doing. And I lose here for sure, but I guess I have to play it out. It's the final game of the final round. I'm just going to hit F6 and see if somehow we end up in a spot where their deck isn't in play. I'll concede as soon as they show me a card that actually wins the game. Flip Guy's Cradle mid-combo, that's nice. That's a cool thing that the deck can do. One thing that I want to point out about the Hyper Combo Nadu builds is that these decks are really miserable to play on Magic Online, both in terms of executing the infinite loop takes more time than you really get. And like there is no window that tells you which bug has been targeted how many times yet this turn. So at some point when your bugs start stacking up, you have to like just click on them and hope one of them is right. And that like in Modern, before it got banned, the paper lists were better than the online list because the online list had to play Finale of Devastation and Thassa's Oracle just to win in time, where the paper list didn't have to play those clunky cards because you could just demonstrate a loop. And I say all this because it might affect Nadu's metagame percentage. Like you might be surprised by the Nadu decks people show up with in paper compared to what you've seen on Magic Online just for iteration purposes of the list and how combo-centric it is. They've got Cord in hand at this point. I just want to see what their mana sink is. Oh, yeah, there's Emrakul. You win. Yeah, they can cast Emrakul. Sweet. Yeah, Emrakul's a pretty quick way to win a game on Magic Online as well. 2-3 record, final count with this deck. Honestly, this felt like we were behind the format. I made some decisions that may or may not have cost us games, like letting the Magus of the Moon resolve, like that sort of thing. That's going to come with just playing Magic no matter what. But trying to sequence the Nadu stuff and get it into play in this, a month ago when I played this deck, it felt like the format was like, or the Nadu recipe was solved. And I was like, wow, this is so much faster than everything I was doing. But then playing against that Court of Calling build, it feels like we are living in ancient history. This deck was still fine, but the things like the Uro and the Keen-Eyed Curator and wasting time on Teferi when you could just be casting Allosaurus Shepherd for the same effect, that also is good in other stuff. That deck might fold harder to a Thoughtseize than this one. I don't even know if that's true, but I'm just trying to think of hypothetical examples. Like, however you build your deck will affect your matchup spread. That's just Magic and how metagaming works. But I think, Rob, if you are on that Nadu life, and I know you are, try the Court of Calling version and see how you feel, and then revisit this. Because we saw it unfold a couple times where I just had Nadu in play for 3 or 4 turns and couldn't target it with anything. Because the Nomad isn't tutorable in this. Like, Living Wish builds get more Nomads. Court of Calling builds get more Nomads. Zenith, just, you have to find the Nomad naturally somehow. I mean, there's Bill and Safekeeper, I know, but the Nomad is the real button. And then even in this matchup last round where I started Naduing, and they don't even necessarily need to concede because they could just untap and win through the... If I perfectly sculpt my whole hand and then pass, because I don't have an Emrakul, I don't have any kind of like time warp effect. I don't have an infinite loop I can demonstrate that bounces all their permanents. I'm a little worried about this build, I'm going to be honest. Rob, good luck in your Nadu iterations. Everyone else, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, check out the Patreon, and I'll see you next time.